So, Corey, what grade were you in when you took human biology class?
I'm pretty sure I was in 8th grade.
Yeah, I was thinking 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere
Right around
in there.
there.
But, kids today, they're maturing much faster than they did when we were utes.
Definitely when we were youths. Yep.
We're going to find out about some second graders who got an interesting biology lesson in today's
Great.
show.
That sounds awesome. All right. We also have a Florida story that'll make you think twice about having a surgery in a motel room.
I don't think I would even think about it once.
Okay, if you say so. Motel rooms seem clean to me, so why not?
So we are both football fans.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that if the Jags or the Finns or the Buccaneers need a new kicker this year,
yeah.
there's a Florida freak who just might be the perfect candidate
Oh,
for them.
great.
So we'll
Sounds
meet
like
him.
a good story.
Yeah.
All that and more coming up on episode 8 of the Florida Freak Show.
Hurry, hurry, hurry! Ladies and gents, boys and girls, step right up for the Florida Freak Show!
Welcome back to the Florida Freak Show. I'm Cory O'Donnell.
And I'm Kirsten O'Donnell.
And if you've ever read a Florida story online or seen a Sunshine State newscast, you know that Florida's greatest export are weird stories about people that live and play here. And we have a few of those, don't we, Kirsten?
Oh, we always do. Great stories ripped from the headlines,
Ripped
as we
from
like
the
to say.
headline.
But before we get started,
Sure.
I'd like to be the first to really wish everyone out there in Freakland a happy hurricane season.
Happy hurricane season. It's back again, baby.
Yeah, better than ever.
Yep.
Yeah. We already have 3 named storms, and it's only, the first week of June. Record-setting season
I was
already.
going to say, you mentioned to me the other day that this is the earliest we've ever had 3 named storms,
Yeah.
which is unbelievable.
And a little terrifying.
Very terrifying. I mean, anything would be terrifying this year, but definitely any sort of unprecedented thing when it comes to hurricanes, yikes.
Do we expect anything less of 2020?
Right, yeah.
So moving
it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Moving on to things that are maybe a little bit lighter than our impending doom. So one of our first episodes, we talked about virtual meetings and how people are doing their jobs now virtually.
Zoom is a big thing now.
Right. Everyone from attorneys to drag queens. It's all virtual, right?
Yep, everything's virtual.
So I have a story for you, an international story from the state of Florida. This one in the Daily Mail.
Oh, great.
I'm not going to read it with a British accent.
Going across the seas. Excellent.
Across the pond.
Yep.
A mother of 3 from Jacksonville accidentally crashed her daughter's Zoom meeting with her classmates while completely naked.
Hey-o.
Ashley Ferret Smith says her daughters were set up with computers in other rooms of the house when she hopped into the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Little did she know that while she was in there, her youngest daughter had moved into the master bedroom and started a Zoom meeting.
She called an audible and moved into the bedroom. Yeah, I can see where this is going.
So when Ashley came out of the bathroom with just a towel wrapped around her head, she realized a bit too late that her 7-year-old's classmates could see her completely naked.
Wow.
Ashley shared a video of her reaction, not the actual video, on
Good for her.
Facebook. And that video has gone on to garner over 1.8 million views.
Wow, that's a ton.
Yeah. So she says, hey, this wasn't in the parenting handbook. Virtual schooling is hard.
Right.
Balancing everything is
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
Not being able to exist in your own house without knowing where a Zoom call might pop up is also hard.
Yeah.
She also adds that it was probably the most humiliating moment of her life.
Oh, boy. I can definitely sympathize with this mom. Notice I use the word sympathize. I haven't had any of this ever happen to me, so no empathy here necessarily, but lots of sympathy. Yeah, because we have Zooms like on our iPads and iPhones, and so
I love my Zoom happy hours.
Yeah, the Zoom happy hour is great, and it's nice because with the iPads and iPhones, we can move them around the house.
Absolutely.
And we usually always set them up against a wall.
Honestly,
So-
our house is such a mess that pretty much the only
you're
place
you're
we
trying to
can-
find a good place against the wall. But I mean, but it also serves another purpose in case we ever get caught, sans trousers or whatever it might be. We don't have to worry about necessarily walking into anyone's shot, which is really, really nice.
Yeah,
Because nobody needs to see me in the buff. That's nobody wins. Nobody wins when that happens. But I do like the idea of the towel on the head and nothing else. That I may have to surprise you one of these times with that.
Oh, it's like the Jafar from Aladdin, sexy Jafar
Sure.
thing going on.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have said anything, but just be prepared.
I've spoiled the surprise.
Spoiled the fun, right?
So it's probably a good thing that Governor DeSantis decided many, many weeks ago that school was in-person school, at least, was done for the year. Because can you imagine the parent-teacher conference?
Not at all. No.
The next one,
it would
awkward.
Very awkward, to say the least. It just wouldn't be a fun situation for anyone.
No.
Yeah. Nobody wants to bring that up. Nobody wants that brought up. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, when did it become so common for us to live out our whole lives online? I know with the whole social distancing thing that it makes it a lot easier for us to do so many things.
Well, these kids today with their hair and their clothes.
Yeah. Hey, we all still need a little bit of private time, including that mom. She just needed a little bit of private time. And the apps really make it hard.
I heard something the other day that something like 75% of people are never more than an arm's reach from their phone.
Yeah, right.
Never.
Always so close.
Shower, bathroom. Yeah. I don't live like that. I spend more than my allotted amount of time on the phone, but when I put it down to charge for the night, it's in another room.
Right. Yeah, you're different than a lot of people in that way. Like I've always been like sort of I think the right word is just admirable. That you could do that. I mean, I always sleep with it right next to me.
Literally, it's only while I'm sleeping.
But I know, but I always sleep with it right next to me every single night, and I just have gotten used to having it there. I don't look at it throughout the night or whatever, but I like the idea that it's right there. I think it's great that you put it in the other room and just like gone and out of sight completely. It's just so hot here in Florida. It would be so easy to get caught in those sorts of things. I'm not wearing a 3-piece suit walking around the house, so I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, okay, here's a question for you. 7 years old is second grade?
Yeah, it's pretty
roughly.
much right. Yeah.
How old were you when you got your first sex ed lesson?
Oh, much older than that. I was, I can't remember when it happened in the home, but just for frame of reference, like sex education class, I think didn't take place till like we were in 9th grade.
Okay.
So it was like, well past 7th grade. I mean, well past 2nd grade.
Right. I'm
sure that my mom talked about it with me at some point before that. All I know is that when I took the sex ed class, it was just cannon fodder for me to just make fun of it because I knew more than enough by that point.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about this because you grew up in a fairly small town, grew up in rural America, in the heartland.
Right. Yeah. The kind of town where you had your doors unlocked all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I grew up in a fairly big suburb.
Yeah.
And we also had sex ed, I want to say maybe 8th grade in health class.
Yeah.
We had our health class and then we had like a unit.
Yeah, I think
no pun intended of sex ed.
I think, not surprisingly, and this may have been the same case for you. Like if you watch that show like Goldberg's or whatever, the phys ed teacher teaches.
Oh no! It was a health teacher. It was a science teacher.
I'm pretty sure the phys ed teacher taught ours,
geez.
so that really hit home for me.
So in
which was always so funny because it was just he was very embarrassed about having to talk about this in front of the kids.
I think I know your high school phys ed teacher, and I can't picture it.
I mean, it might have been somebody different, but it's just. Yeah, I think we had a lot of fun just making him feel, very awkward.
Well, like me and every other girl who grew up in the 70s and 80s, Judy Blume really was my sex ed teacher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? For me, too. Just in terms of not necessarily like learning all the lessons for the boys necessarily, but Judy Blume was a huge influence just in general. Like, I loved her books. Her books were great, and they really, they were great.
Confused me a lot of times.
Sure.
Because they were written in like the 50s and 60s.
Right,
and then,
but got you thinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Shout out to Judy Blume.
Yeah. All right. So from naked ladies to naked men.
All right. Here we go.
And we talked about the naked men last week a little bit. As the temperatures here in Florida go up, the pants in Florida have a tendency to go down.
Don't we know it?
Right. So, from Local10.com, Miramar, Florida police have made an arrest in a Memorial Day vandalism spree inside Miramar High School.
Huh, okay.
What does this have to do with nudity, you ask?
No.
A man was caught on surveillance video trashing the school wearing a hat, headphones, and nothing else.
Whoa. All right. Here we go.
Yeah. Police say the man is 21-year-old Matthew Crandall, who broke in around 7 a.m. on Memorial Day and spent nearly 24 hours smashing televisions and computers and causing flooding in hallways and other areas of the school, while naked.
Wow. And didn't he, I don't know if he took a break to sleep at all. 24 hours of straight
That's
doing
a spree.
this.
That's a spree.
That's stamina.
So a school custodian discovered the damages, which total, by the way, upwards of $100,000.
Wow.
Crandall is from near our neck of the woods, North Fort Myers.
Oh, yeah.
And is charged with burglary and criminal mischief.
Huh.
It is not known if he had an affiliation to the high school.
Yeah, well, that's just really odd, because of how far away it is. So how do you get to headphones and naked? Do you think he left the house that way?
Well, first of all, he was probably having a bad hair day.
Oh, true. Yeah, I mean, why not? I get that.
And you need your smashing music.
I get the hat and the headphones.
I mean, I'm guessing
Don't
they
misunderstand
were
me.
over the ear headphones,
Sure.
for maximum protection.
Yeah,
Because protective gear clearly is, a priority
that's
for this
what I
young
was
man.
thinking. Right. Yeah, I just wondering if he drove there naked or if he did some other things naked. I don't know what it is. It's just I just don't get it. It's maybe he decided to strip down once he got there because he was like, oh, I don't want to get my Monday best all.
Well,
painted
schools
up.
have been closed, so maybe the air conditioning hadn't been running.
Oh yeah. There you go.
And got a little toasty in there. Got a little
toasty.
steamy, and
He's like, who else is gonna be here? I'm just this is basically like walking around the house.
right. Probably went to the locker room
Mm-hmm.
and changed there. I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the other thing I want to know about is it says in here that he was, quote, smashing his TVs and computers basically in the nude. I'd be worried about all that glass.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Shards.
I'm just thinking of Bruce Willis and Die Hard, all the
his
damage he
feet.
did to his feet. Now imagine that for his whole body for some reason, just getting shards of glass flying everywhere and
Yeah, but protective gear,
Well,
once again.
I mean, just wearing a layer of clothing would make such a huge difference. But hey, to each their own.
Right.
Who am I to judge?
So, as always, I have questions.
Of course. Question away.
It is, and this might be more of a statement, really. It is between 2 hours and 15 minutes to 2.5 hours to drive from North Fort Myers to Miramar.
Yeah, it's a long ways away.
Of course, depending on whether or not you're willing to pay a toll.
Oh, yeah.
You drive a little shorter for the convenience there, but why? Why, if he doesn't have a known affiliation to the school
that we know of, who knows?
that we know of,
Yeah.
it
boggles the mind.
now
Between did he drive there naked and why did he go all
and
the way?
that is a long drive naked.
Oh, and there's a lot of time to premeditate. There's a lot of time to decide, is this the right thing to do? Well, as we know, Florida folks, that doesn't rarely does judgment actually come into their mind. Should I do this or should I not?
So, as you know, as everybody knows, I have watched a lot of Criminal Minds.
Yes, you have.
During this pandemic.
Yeah, you've pretty much made it through almost all of them.
I have. There's one season that I can't seem to access on any service, and it's really infuriating me. But I've learned a lot, and one of the things that I've learned is driving that far to commit a crime is a forensic countermeasure.
Ooh, a countermeasure. How does that whole thing work?
So nobody would suspect the guy from 2.5 hours away to be destroying a school.
Right. There's got to be some sort of known radius where you think, oh, that's where everybody's coming from.
Right. Absolutely. So it's a forensic countermeasure. He'd never be suspected.
Yeah.
If it weren't for the fact that there's surveillance video of him naked.
He's diabolical.
You would think that perhaps a mask would also be a good forensic countermeasure, but
sure. Well, sometimes I don't think we give them enough credit, and maybe we're giving them too much credit. Who knows?
Sure.
But but it's fascinating to know that this could be a countermeasure crime as well.
And Memorial Day.
Wow.
Is this really the best way to honor our fallen soldiers?
I can't think that it's the right way to go.
I mean, I don't know what the appropriate holiday for nudity is. It's not Independence Day because fireworks and nudity. That's
that
a bad
could be
idea.
bad.
Christmas, you've got the pine needles. Hanukkah, you've got open flames.
Ooh.
New Year's.
Halloween doesn't make any sense unless you're going as a birthday suit.
Right, New Year's baby.
New Year's baby.
New Year's baby.
We got to figure it out.
That's your appropriate naked holiday.
Come on, Crandall. Get this figured out next time. Plus, on New Year's Eve, the school's not going to be open because everybody's on break.
Well, everybody's on break now, too.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, if
Right.
you're looking
Of
for a
course.
time when, nobody's going to be there.
Of course. Absolutely.
Crandall, we got it all figured out for you finally. Good.
Thank goodness.
All right.
Okay, moving on to our third story. This one from clickorlando.com, although not really in the Orlando area. A Florida man who was upset about the noise a chicken was making got violent last week in
Ooh.
Marathon. Deputies in Monroe County said 43-year-old Nicholas Kevin Chu's girlfriend called them to report that Chu kicked a chicken while they were arguing, and she was worried that the bird's leg was broken.
Oh, wow.
Chu reportedly admitted to kicking the chicken out of his way because he was upset with the bird's noises.
Ugh.
However, a separate witness stated he saw Chu grab the bird and kick it the way a football player would kick a field goal.
All right.
The aggrieved Rhode Island Red chicken was found standing nearby on one leg.
Aww.
It was taken to an animal hospital where a veterinarian determined that it had suffered 4 broken ribs.
Oh.
Chu was arrested on an animal cruelty charge, but there is a happy ending.
Oh, good.
The chicken, whose name was Hoon, was reunited with his owner by the Marathon ASPCA.
Oh, that's good. I'm so glad the chicken's okay, but this sounds really awful. I mean, it reminds me of that expression that I heard a lot growing up. I'm going to drop kick you through the goalposts of life. I don't know where that came from. I have nothing, but we used to love to say it all the time. And I don't know, but unfortunately, that needed to happen to Mr. Chu instead of to this chicken. He should have been drop kicked.
He should have been drop
awful.
kicked.
It's just awful.
Now, I will say,
Yeah.
last year, Dolphins place kicker, Jason easy for me to say.
Easy for you to say.
Jason Sanders, because it's such a difficult name to pronounce, too.
Colonel
Jason
Sanders.
Sanders. Oh, see, we're bringing that whole chicken thing around full circle.
Yeah, it's all making sense.
Jason Sanders only kicked about 76% field goal
Ew,
percentage
not
last
good.
year. Not awesome. Not the worst in the NFL, but
No.
maybe we found a new career for Nicholas Kevin Chu.
Nicholas Kevin Chu, new career for you. I love it. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, the guy's a winner in life. You can tell this already just by what he's a winner and he's a catch. Now, I'm immediately thinking, so he's got a girlfriend already because she's the one that called the authorities. But maybe if he didn't, he could have a Tinder profile that probably reads more like, got chickens? I'm going to kick them. Got friends? They better sleep with me. Otherwise, I'm going to blow up your house. Call me.
So the reason why Cory brings up blowing up houses and sleeping with one's girlfriend's friends is because we did a little research on Nicholas Kevin Chu. This same man back in 2018 was arrested for committing written threats to kill or do bodily injury.
Oh, boy.
Not to a chicken.
Yeah.
He was enraged reportedly because his girlfriend's lesbian friend rejected his advances, and so he threatened to blow up her house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He is a catch.
Huge catch. Huge winner. Big time.
Yeah. Now I do need to bring up one other thing about this chicken story here. A couple of things actually.
Sure.
What do you think when you hear Rhode Island Red?
I don't I think of the state. I think of I don't know.
The state, the color.
I don't, yeah. There is something familiar about it.
I think I know what might be familiar about it.
Oh, okay.
As we often talk about Saturday morning cartoons,
Yes,
or at
we
least
do.
the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Rhode Island Red was the name of Foghorn Leghorn's nemesis.
Really?
In Looney Tunes. In
Oh,
fact, I
yes.
didn't know it was an actual breed of chicken.
No.
I just thought that it was his name.
Oh, I love Foghorn Leghorn too.
And by
I'm
the way,
really
a
bummed.
leghorn is also a chicken.
Yeah, I'm bummed that I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, Rhode Island Red was the star halfback at Chicken Tech.
Of course he was.
They were college buddies.
Oh, yeah. college chums.
Now nemesis.
I like just
nemesis.
They're rivals.
There you go. They're rivals.
Yeah.
So Foghorn Leghorn and Rhode Island Red went to college.
Sure.
I don't know what they studied. Perhaps animal husbandry. I don't know.
Possibly.
And we're rivals, and that's what I think of when I hear Rhode Island Red.
And if I remember right, they really like to give each other a hard time all the time.
Yeah.
Or at least Rhode Island Red was, not the nicest dude.
No.
Yeah.
No, not that Foghorn Leghorn was a gem either.
kind of pulling his strings all the time.
Also, for those of you who don't know me well, in another life, I coached a lot of speech and debate.
Yes, you did.
At the high school and college level.
Very good.
And one of the things that we would do before a big tournament is we would do a lot of tongue twisters, vocal warm-ups.
Right.
In the van on the way to the tournament to get us ready. Because the tournaments a lot of times would start at like 6:30, 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
And, you're a little mushy-mouthed at that time. So, we would do tongue twisters. And I think I found a great tongue twister, which is chicken kicker Kevin Chew, chastised and charged.
Ooh. Chicken kicker Kevin Chew, chastised and charged.
Okay, faster. 3 times fast. Come on.
Chicken killer Kevin Chew.
Chicken
killer.
Kill the chicken.
Chicken killer. Chicken kicker. Yeah, it's
and actually,
tough.
it's Nicholas Kevin Chew. But, you some artistic liberties there.
Sure,
I guess.
Hey,
yeah.
If they're gonna give you 3 names, I'm gonna use the 2 that are alliterative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My personal favorite tongue twister.
Mm.
I am a mother pheasant plucker. I pluck mother pheasants. I am the most pleasant mother pheasant plucker to ever pluck a mother pheasant.
Wow.
I almost messed it up.
Yeah, you did. That's the best part of that one.
Yeah.
You're really good at tongue twisters, I've noticed.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
It's
it's
why you're
on my
such a
resume.
good, speech. Yeah, it should be right at the very top. That's great. All right, final story.
Final story comes to us from USA Today. And a little caveat here. This one is actually from last year. But for whatever reason, it resurfaced in my news feed this week, and it is just too weird to ignore. So I had to throw it into the show.
I'm game. Let's do it.
All right. In Sebring, Florida, 74-year-old Gary Van Ryswick was arrested and charged with practicing medicine without a license.
Okay.
Cory, what kind of medicine do you think perhaps Dr. Van Ryswick in his mind?
Perhaps.
What kind of medicine do you think he was practicing?
Podiatry, dentistry, gynecology.
All of those are viable answers. None of them are quite as disturbing as the actual truth.
Oh, okay.
So I'll give you a little clue. He was performing a procedure on a man that he met on the website eunuch.com.
Oh, right, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
So back in August.
I'm starting to put this together.
Yeah. Back in August, deputies went to Van Ryswick's house to respond to a 911 hang-up.
Mm-hmm.
Van Ryswick answered the door and told the deputy he had just performed a castration on a man.
Oh, wow.
So deputies found the victim on a bed, bleeding heavily with a towel over his groin. A pink container nearby held 2 body parts.
Oh, boy.
I will let you guess what those were.
Yeah.
The room was set up like a surgical center with medical equipment and painkillers, and there was also a camera set up to record the procedure.
Oh, good. That's good for evidence.
Yeah. So the victim was taken to the hospital and later flown to a regional medical center. Van Ryswick told investigators that he had performed a similar procedure at a local motel several years ago.
Ooh.
And that man had gone to the hospital, but without calling the police.
Oh, okay. Well,
He also, by the way, had told the victim that he had removed one of his own testicles back in 2012.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Yes, absolutely. By the way, practicing medicine without a license resulting in bodily injury is a second-degree felony.
Wow. So, meeting a guy at a motel or a home to get a castration, sign me up. I mean, this seems like, a can't miss proposition. Let's just get this done and get it over with. I would have to read the reviews though first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's got like a Yelp review page?
I'm hoping so, or maybe like an Amazon reviews, or like a Google business reviews or something like that. Like questions I'd like to get answered. Will there be a camera taping the procedure? Have you removed one of your own balls before? I just need to know that these are, questions that can be answered quickly, because otherwise I just don't know if this is the right thing for me.
Right. Well, and I think it's perfectly acceptable if you don't get the answers you want that you take your balls and go home.
Yeah, I'm done with this. Me and my balls, we's out of here.
So,
Wow.
I am guessing that you may not want to look up eunuch.com after listening to this podcast,
No.
because I suspect that what you see is not going to be, scenes from Game of Thrones.
No Google image searches on this sort of thing either.
No.
Just do yourself a favor and just make a note to not do this.
Right. So I do think that it is yet another example of sort of that universal rule of the internet.
What's that?
Some folks call it Rule 34.
Rule 34.
Which is, if it exists, there is porn of it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Whatever you can imagine, there is.
Yeah. And also, just as an aside to that, porn always pushes technology forward, which is always very funny. They're always the
that's true. That's
sort of
that's
first to
why
jump on to like any new technological
the transition.
breakthrough.
Yeah, absolutely. The transition from DVD and Blu-ray to streaming video.
Yeah,
it was spurred. Honest to God, it was
I know.
spurred by pornography.
Yeah, they're the pioneers, the porn pioneers.
Wow.
Just saying.
You
brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
Did I bring it up? I don't know. I don't know.
Rule
if
34 brought it up.
Oh, Rule 34.
It just made me think of it. It's my fault. I thought of it because of Rule 34. Wow. But you're right. I mean, if it does exist, there is porn of it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point we just...
Call it good. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more we can do with that. Let's just take our balls and go home.
That's right. So those, of course, are freakiest Florida finds for the week. What did we learn this week?
Well, let's see. So we had the naked woman on a Zoom call. So I learned to always towel it up down low until you make sure that the room is camera clear.
Well, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
And just, a little camera awareness.
Yeah.
Really that's
Head
you
on
talk
a
about
swivel
that in
when you're
media
coming
all
out
the
of-
time. Being camera aware.
Yeah. As soon as you enter a room where you don't know if there's somebody in it, head on a swivel. Just making sure. Yeah.
It's a weird new world that we live in. You don't know what's being broadcast.
Right.
What about the naked fella?
Oh, wrecking the school.
Yeah.
So I learned that safety first when vandalizing properties. Maybe not the best idea to just go commando.
Although the story did not mention any injuries, any abrasions.
Well, that's just all because of good luck.
He may be very careful.
Yeah. Yeah, I could speak to his professionalism. I don't know. Or his, yeah.
And the Rhode Island Red.
Oh, yeah. Kicking chickens is a bad turnoff if you have it for a Tinder profile.
But it does sound like a great restaurant.
Kicking chickens. Yeah, absolutely. I like that a lot because the legs are going to be great.
Oh, but I'm bumped.
Yeah.
And finally, our friend in Sebring who is practicing medicine without a license.
The castration fella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Avoid motels and homes for surgeries on your bits and pieces. That's what I learned.
Yeah, and
keep your bits and pieces to the professionals.
And indeed,
yeah.
Indeed, and also, it seems like he really dropped the ball on that procedure.
Yes. All the puns that we have in the world.
All the puns.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Well, that is another slice of Sunshine State silliness for this week. Now, as always, you can find plenty of other kooky news stories from our illustrious state on our Facebook page and on our Twitter page.
That's right. Remember to follow us and like us there. That's at FLA Freakshow. If you see a Florida story we've missed, feel free to share it with us. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on our on your favorite podcast platforms. It really helps us out and helps us find more freak fans like you to enjoy the show. Until next time, I'm Cory O'Donnell.
And I'm Kirsten O'Donnell. As always, we will be back next week. And until then, let your Florida freak flag fly.
Goodbye.